Welcome everyone. It is not you today. There are some difficult energies out there. I had such beautiful energies coming in this week, and then I got poison sumac, and then today my daughter was dealing with some car issues that I had to help her out with. And then I came back and I was getting ready to do your video, getting to this beautiful place of peace. And then Google kicked me out of my email and I needed to get in there. So then I had to find out how to get back in there. And I had to open up an app that I didn't want on my phone and then delete the app. And that still didn't work. And then I found out if I asked to help instead of signing in the way they wanted me to sign in, then I could choose another way. So it was just a very frustrating energy. And yeah, I have poison sumac that I was trying to cut back some of my neighbor's bamboo that's constantly growing into my yard, and I wasn't well protected, and I'm very allergic to it anyway, so it just fell all over me. So I have it all over my back and my neck and behind my right knee. But I realized that all the areas the poison sumac are my injury areas, my spine, and then that right knee block that keeps coming up for everybody, and my neck, which I actually have a cyst on my neck that I've had for many years. It's nothing, but it's there. So it's very interesting that it came out in all of the specific areas of my injuries. So I'm feeling like it's there for a reason, to help fix the energies there. And I actually don't have it as bad as I usually would get it if I left myself unexposed to touching it. So that's where I am. But I'm better now. Everything is working out so far. And I was meditating a little while ago for you when I initially wanted to start the video. And the first thing I was getting was like all hearts, this beautiful energy. And then I was seeing, there was a dog that came up. It might be a message for someone. It kind of had a dachshund's face, but like a bigger dog, and it was kind of a taupey color with light brown eyes. So that might be a message for someone. And then I was getting two cartoon characters, and I'm not really familiar with the cartoons these days, but it was a boy with light blonde hair and a flat top. So the Robinsons came up when I looked it up online to see if I could figure out who they were. But I couldn't find the girl being associated. Now there was a girl with thick red hair and two like big puffy ponytails. And her energy kind of reminded me of Angelica, but it wasn't Angelica. So I don't know who that is. If somebody does, let me know. But the two of those were coming up. And then I was seeing the Queen, literally Elizabeth, but she's not showing her face. I'm just seeing her walking with gloves and a cape and a hat. And then Ganesha was coming in a very playful way, like a little kid wanting to play. So the elephant energy, the owl energy was also coming in. So coming back to the heart, bringing in some beautiful energies. So Ganesha came up already, so we're going to pull in Ganesha and Sophia. I was going to say Mother Mary, but apparently Elizabeth wants to come in. I don't know how that's going to present itself, so we'll see. Jesus and Mary Magdalene want to come in as well. Okay, calling in all guides, angels, and masters who have messages for everyone today for the best and highest good of all that's concerned, of the highest order. Let's clear out blocks to positive energy flow in all chakra layers, auric layers, grounding, and galactic cords across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all is concerned. and fill any empty spaces in with only beautiful divine love light of the highest order. I command that it is so, and so it is. Thank you. Okay. So I met with another twin this week, and some beautiful energies came in regarding us opening up a big portal, a big bridge that needed to be opened. It's like we were on the bridge, but the other side had to be opened, and that was opened when we met. And the message I was getting is that this big portal that apparently is to stabilize and hold the magnetic whale frequency. And I was getting that it's stabilizing, quote unquote, the planetary wobble. And I posted this, and then the name Robbie popped up instead of wobble. And then also Ea energy was definitely involved, and Pegasus electrical energy. And I wrote a shift a coming. Oh, look at the fire going. Wow. And that's lotus flower burning. That was, I thought it was done burning, and that's coming up from the fire there. So there's definitely some transmutation going on. This is the cards that came up in part of that message that I just read to you. Okay. And again, that whale portal. Oh, also cereals were coming up. So, and this was from my Crystal Angels post on Instagram, but the cereals came up prior to the post. I was getting, first Tricks Are for Kids were coming in, and then Tony the Tiger was coming in saying they're great. And then after that, Honey Bunny was coming up from Pulp Fiction. But then I was getting Slumdog Millionaire overlaying it with wild cats and slumdogs and a brother giving his life for another to truly live the dream. And what was the other? There was a third serial that came up. Let's see here. Yeah, there's definitely another serial. I guess it'll come up in my notes if it wants to come up again. All right, so I have a twin flame read on the table. I have a message of the day read for you, as well as many downloads that have been coming in all week regarding all that information. Here are some of the posts on Instagram if you never get on there. So here was just one of the messages regarding this symbolism that was coming in as a tetragrammaton, the YXOT, and then reflecting it, TOXY, and these were the symbols that were coming up. They were coming up as the dream catcher, and then this one was coming up as like a safe, or like a bullet train safe kind of look, you know, the opening of a safe. And then this was coming up as the sun, and then here's the singularity there. But again, the message down below as well. And then this was also coming up, another message around Pharaoh, which I'm going to be bringing up in just a minute. So we'll get into that. And yeah, and then the two reads that I'm going to bring to you. So just some quick things that came up from between the 22nd and the 24th, and then we're going to start from the 24th. Let's see where I am here. I hope everybody out there is doing well in these crazy energies. It's not you. All right, so some of the things that came up between the 22nd and 23rd was the word medics came up, and that came up in something I read about the 6th Infantry regarding the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor and the 6th Infantry specifically, and in describing what was going on between them when they retaliated against Japan. Apparently the Japanese used to call medics so that they could bring in the medics, you know, like they were injured and needed help, and then they could kill the medic so that our soldiers wouldn't have help, and then they would be disoriented. And again, there was this energy about not taking them hostage, like it was very, very brutal and aggressive, and they would just expect to be killed. And then chasing the storm was coming up, passing the torch, like lightning following the knight's sword, or in other words, to connect to the truth. And then 309 comes up as 369, 0 in the middle being the present moment of the 6, which also can represent 369 of the 3D, 4D, 5D, or being on the bridge. And I always call the bridge too the Christ consciousness bridge, the 33 energy. And then the highway, and then Dances with Wolves was also coming up. All right. All right, so on the 24th, is that where I'm starting from? Yep. On the 24th, the Knight of Cups was, I'd also posted as an important message, so you can read that on Instagram if you'd like to. It was the Knight of Cups. And that's when I started itching. Let's see here. Oh, no one puts baby in the corner was coming up here. Finance, authority figures after the High Priestess. Oh, and persecution and inquisition. It keeps coming up over and over and over. We're getting these energies of persecution, and I'm really feeling them. The High Priestess transports biblical carpenter fears of the father. The Celtic Neanderthal keeps coming up as well, hungry for power. And then the betrayal of Judas and Jesus was also coming up. The finances of the night, wars over baby, the fight for the child, and again, no one puts baby in the corner. The civil war over progeny, the baby of the son's tree. And again, grandchildren and grandparents connection was also coming in earlier this week. The unrequited Greek love, the High Priestess persecution. Can't believe this is still going. I just don't want it to touch anything. Let me move this guy over here. He's getting kind of hot. Yeah, let me move that up a little bit. I don't want it to touch the tree. It's really burning there. There's something about that. It's burning this energy that was coming in earlier. It's transmuting it. It's yeah, going up in flames is what I'm getting. So this fight over the progeny, the grandchildren, right? The leaves of the tree. The unrequited Greek love and the High Priestess persecution. So unable to get to the dirtied waters of the Atlantic and save the dolphins, the vows of the orphan child, and as the angelics opening books or hands or candlelight, as we have this big fire in front of us, for forgiveness regarding the communal life, the monk or nun, I was just getting that again this morning, which I'll bring up today, the monk or nun and the wisdom behind imprisonment, finding freedom whenever you're in a cell by connecting with the angels and higher self. Traveling to Egypt and Asia Minor was coming up as opposed to just Asia, but Asia Minor, which is more Turkey, and bridging the karmic relationship of trust and faith and Lady Liberty, and libertarians also came up there, and the Native Americans, which have been a theme all week as well, and the karmic relationship between. The karmic relationship, the native spouse, and galactic ships coming in for the time traveler's wife. A pocket watch and field of angels. As 1823 came up here to 1863, and the 39 children that died on the Whitney plantation. There was apparently 22 slave cabins on the plantation, and it was now dedicated to the 2,200 known Louisiana slave children who died before their 3rd birthday. From 1880 to 1946, it was owned by Pierre Edward St. Martin, and then Theophilia Perret and their families, so same people. And this was coming up from the Jack's Sun, JAXSUN magazine.com. It was bought in 1999 by New Orleans attorney John, I can't read my writing, I don't know, it's Carings or Craig's, but the person who bought the property, he bought it to restore it and develop this museum that opened in December of 2014. The Field of Dreams initially came up, and then the image of the aged doctor in the Field of Dreams, leaving the field to treat his patients. And then Iowa and Dyersville came up, and getting big connection, and then that energy of Ray Kinsella has drawn to the real Field of Dreams there, near routes where Route 52 and Route 20 come together, between the towns Holy Cross and Worthington and Rockville, and northeast of Cedar Rapids. Notice the Cedar Race, Cedar Rapids, and being your worth, and the Holy Cross, and Rockville, where the rocks and stones begin to sing. I can't believe that's still burning. Can you believe that's still burning? Like, what is burning? Like, there was a couple flower leaves in there. That's kind of crazy, you guys. All right, so then I'm going to bring up the YXO2 tetragrammaton that was coming up, reflecting TOXY. So we have the Y in the circle, which is like the Mercedes symbol, and then the singularity, which is the circle with the dot in the middle, but the dot in the middle here was coming up as the X. X marks the spot. And then the empty circle as the sun, and then the singularity alone as a dot, which then comes up as this pair of glasses here for clear vision. When you overlap the two, they become this, where you can see the whole circle in the middle, but you only see the hole on the outsides, which came up in my message on Instagram. The twin towers of you and I, two sides of the same coin, coming from opposing sides with the same objective in mind. Together, clear vision. In the middle, inside, you see the circle. Outside, you see the whole. So again, the energy of seeing the lack of what you have on the outside, but going within, you see the whole circle. You see the whole picture. So coming from the medicine deck I was using, the underlying energy was the 23 of the diversion of the opossum, and then the owl that came out, which represents deception here, number 21, playing possum, the King of Wands, as the night eagle. The little owl comes in to complete the mission. At home in silence and in the dark, with sharp beak and feathers, the wise owl knows the truth when others deceive. And then the example of Athina had come up because she usually is seen with an owl on her shoulder. You see right through others' ulterior motives. You may frighten them because you reflect their blindness, as you can see what they cannot see in themselves. The owl is helping you to intuit through silent observation, bringing you truth through dreams and meditation. But remember to keep your craft in the light, because it represents that knowing, that magic regarding dark and light. Opossum has the Academy Award for playing dead and strategizing. You may need to pretend to be an apathetic or unafraid to diffuse the situation. Playing dead, but then a flash, I wrote in big capital letters, the war cry is heard, and there's your flash right there. Make sure not to close your eyes and be dramatic, refusing to see feeding negative energies or patterns of excuses of, for example, I'm too short or tall or sad or busy. You don't need to defend your right to be. You don't owe an explanation. The best defense is no defense, and knowing when to use diversion or not. The King of Wands strategizing with no need to explain his intent, as the night eagle or owl that comes in to trigger what he does not know about himself, and then coming full circle. So here's where the circles came in, of the Y and the X, and then the empty circle and the dot of the singularity. The YXO2T, and I think Mercury retrograde starts around August 4th, but you could be feeling a little bit of that coming in right now. YXOT reflects TOXY. So I looked up all of the definitions of the different words because YZOT came up right away. And XOT is a type of owl, as I was just talking about. So it was very interesting that that came up. And also ZOT means to kill or destroy, but also the anteater, which was very interesting because the ants have been coming up a lot. The ants below possum, the sound of lightning or anteater's tongue, the headmaster, boss, lord, god, sir, mister, landowner, crazy mad fool, y'all, they and them. And a toxin there came up too, an occludens toxin. So why the owl, who's the watcher, who winters in Africa, and you know what? I'm going to blow the fire out because I'm just worried. It is metal, but I'm worried that if it does collapse at all, it's going to start a problem. So, oh, let's see. I have a little bit of water, so let's try that. Oh my God. Oh my God. You guys, this is very crazy. At least it's going down. There must be oil in that. Can you, it's water. But can you pull the plant away? It's going down now. It was getting it was like burning high for so long, and now we have the fire alarm on. There's the energy.
Put the lid on top of it. You don't throw water.
No, the lid's underneath it, and I couldn't pick it up. It was too high. Thank you. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I can't believe it's still going, you guys. I need to put something on top of it.
Here, I got you.
I don't want you to burn yourself, though, hon. Is that the same size one?
Mm-hmm.
You can try. Is it metal?
Like that's what they say. You're supposed to like.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm scared I'm gonna get burned.
Well, just drop it on there. Don't touch it. That's smart, coming in from the side.
Yeah.
You're on video, though. Don't just. You have to just put it there, and just try to take the oxygen out. Thank you, my love. She's so smart.
Light in my room, and I said, "Oh my God, the house is on fire."
I thought it was going to go on fire. Sorry, everyone. You got to witness my stupidity, I suppose. Oh, that was crazy because there's nothing in there that should explode like that. The only thing that was in there was the lotus. And that had already burned a few times. Wow. I did put a little piece of incense in there. I don't know if the, and I messed up all my cards too. I just bought this deck. Oh well. All right, guys, let's continue on. We had some excitement. So playing dead, but then a flash. The war cry is heard. Make sure not to close your eyes and be dramatic, refusing to see and feeding the negative energies. All right, so we have the owl that was coming up, and of course the owl is about wisdom, right, and not allowing the fire to burn, right, too strongly there. Let me take this off too. Why the owl who winters in Africa, which is also called Otis, which came up in the YXOT, the watcher, aka lamb, the kid goat or night eagle, the energy of OT, which also means father and fire, and the number 8, the little ones who dance with father's fire, number 8, to get high and bribe a pig was coming up, and then the boy and girls who dance dirty dancing and no one puts baby in the corner, Why lightning and the anteater kill, the sound of lightning coming, and the tongue of the anteater which is sharp. Why y'all are them, this energy, God, Lord, Master, landowner, boss, sir, Mr., wild and crazy fool, reflecting the TOXY of Toxie, to girl and boy or two of them, to dance with Y in the XY chromosomes dance. The driver is that first circle, and then intent, and then the next two of this empty circle and the dot are source and creator. So the differences between the words source and creator were coming up reflects the black hole that opens up to mark the spot and drive home. So again, the twin towers of you and I, two sides of the same coin, with the same objective in mind. Together, as the two tetragrammatons overlay each other, they have clear vision, where in the middle or inside you see the circle, but outside you see the hole, the empty hole. So you see the whole circle versus the whole HOLE. So this tetragrammaton, this fire was bringing up something to transmute for me, because when I was young, my brothers dared me to take a ping pong ball and touch it to the red on the stove. I don't know how old I was. I wasn't that old. I don't know, maybe around 10 or something. So my two older brothers dared me to do it because they didn't think I would, and I did. And it exploded, and I threw it up in the air. It burst into flames, but it landed in my brother's hamburger that he was cooking. And that was really high. That was like flames up to here. So that was just triggering that memory for me. So there may be something there that it needed to trigger for you as well. That's just water. My poor cards. Okay. So let's see what else is coming up here. So the tetragrammaton, the word itself, was coming up as the tree equal and congruent to the tree. The Ra or Ray on either side with God in the middle. The M and M, you notice there's always something in the middle, this equality, which Ra and Ra on either side are coming up as the tree and the tree. But the God in the middle is coming up as equal and congruent to that and, that plus, that cross in the middle of M and M. At and on, a ton, or again the energy of A and capital T, which represent the rocket on the rocket launcher. A tree of human Christ, the bridge of all things. So again, this bridge between the and, the intersection, the cross, the Holy Cross, and again the energy of one equal and congruent to another. And I had seen a Melchizedek post had come up on Instagram, and he was talking about the word Pharaoh, meaning that which we will become. So I found that very interesting. So I was then guided to break down Pharaoh as well, which is why I did that post. And the energy of the Pharaoh is the house of one-to-one, reflecting rays of embodiment of source. The Pharaoh, the house of one-to-one, reflecting rays as human, where the I, remember when the I falls over, it becomes the H of the human, the I am presence into the human embodiment of source. And then in Pharaoh, we have Hara, H-A-R-A-H, which reflects itself, the energy of Ra with an H on either side. The housing of X and Y in wonder and awe, the inspiration. Also the housing of the trident and the Taurus which came up, right? The Taurus being the 2 and the trident being the 3. And then the definitions around Hara was very interesting, because one of the definitions was exactly what is X doing in Y. This was the definition in Wikipedia, or Wiktionary, not Wikipedia, after I'd just done the XY tetragrammaton. So it's really cool how my guides lead me to just the right things. So what is X doing in Y? Or X is completely inappropriate for Y? Or X is completely different from Y, especially without the second H, right? Because in Pharaoh, you have two H's, and then it was coming up needing the second H to make H2O for water, but also the P, which is phosphorus, which would make it glow, right? And then a queen also came up as a definition there, and the rabbit or hare, and the winter constellation of that in the northern skies south of Orion. And again, Hara's casino also comes up here. But Hara, H-A-R-A, is also a forked tool, a hoe and hand cultivator. And then the word Ara, A-R-A, comes up right in the middle of Pharaoh. So what I had written on my post here was PH and OH both looking for another H to glow up the water of two charioteers, which is Ara, and rise up. Pharaoh would also then mean housing X, completely different from Y, one-to-one in wonder and awe of what they could become. And then the third definition came through as the illuminance of the driver of inspiration, the light of the one who lights others. So there's this very profound information coming through for Pharaoh. The two of them came up as part of that too. The charioteer, the horse boy and messenger, the temple, the measure of illuminance of the charioteer and the messenger, the two of them, and their ray, their path, their blood name and glory and sacrifice, to rise up and awaken the altar stone, the human earth or hearth, the pyre and the refuge, and the fig tree, to plow and sexually possess, now and, so the crossroad or plus, and on and on and on and so on. The OH that needs that second H to become H2O in awe. And then Ramses was coming up, and the buffalo stacked ram's head. And this again, the tetragrammaton coming up here. And Ramses II came up, the third ruler of the 19th dynasty, the great Egypt pharaoh, along with Thutmose III from the 18th dynasty. And then Yellowstone, that eruption of steam, rock, and mud came up, which was not a sign of volcanic eruption according to the article I read about it. It was titled Baffling Dangerous Explosion in Yellowstone. What is a hydrothermal explosion? Hot water turns to steam in volcano system in a confined area and drops in a sudden drop in pressure. And they said in Yellowstone that no one's ever been killed by one of these, but they could be if you were close to it. Did you know that Yellowstone is home to the 3 largest known hydrothermal explosion craters on Earth? And these 3 biggest ones happened 13,000 years ago. That was 1.5 miles long. That's called Mary Bay. And Turbid Lake was 9,400 years ago and a mile-wide crater. And then Elliott's crater was 0.5 mile, about 8,000 years ago. So I asked why Yellowstone, because remember I had a vision regarding the 3 dark nights, and Lincoln had come up, the Lincoln Memorial, like with a big mud dumping there, but also activity going on in other locations. And it was very interesting too about the Atlantic, because I just watched Elena Denon and Michael Sala with JP, which I urge you to watch because that's a very interesting talk that they had. And something that came up was that the ark with the giant and the tree of life, or just the ark, and now I'm getting confused because they were talking about the arks that JP went on as well as the giants and the trees, and I forget which one it was, but the ark was moved farther into the Atlantic. So again, the area that I had brought up in my vision was the Atlantic shelf at the Gibraltar Strait through the Bermuda Triangle area, that there was some movement going on there, and that's what happened. They moved the ship. They wanted it to be closer to the Atlantean energies because I guess the connections are better there. That came up in their conversation, so I thought that was very interesting. So why? Yellowstone was the world's first national park. That was March 1st, 1872. And why was Lincoln related to the mud dumping I'd seen? And Lincoln's signature, actually, they claimed here, on June 30th, 1864, actually laid the groundwork for the national park system. It was the Yosemite Grant Act. So in 1864, it was made a California state park, but then quickly became a national park. Native Americans, though, were the main residents here. And they basically were pushed out at the time of the gold rush in 1849 in the Yosemite Valley. So it's very interesting. And then there was a talk I was taking to of Lincoln. Was it Lincoln? I think Lincoln at Columbus, Ohio, which came up in my message, where he was defending his position about slavery, but, you know, professing that he doesn't want equality, just, you know, the rights of basic human rights of survival. And I don't know what his beliefs were specifically, because he'd have to say something like that to get the other people on board at that time. So it was a very interesting speech to kind of read some of. I didn't read the whole thing, but I think it was his rebuttal to the person he was running against. All right. So then we go up to 27th, and today is the 29th. So the 27th was actually a wedding in our family. So not something I was going to, but my kids went to. So it was and the day that all of the energies were so beautiful. It was like the perfect day energy-wise for a wedding. So there was a beautiful wedding on that day. Maybe you guys have experienced something like that in your families as well. And the energy of the knighthood and Civil War battles, again coming up, and forgiveness, Atlantis, ships, and phobias. Where then when I broke down phobias, H-O-B means a fairy, elf, countryman, the common people, the crowd, the multitude, the heap, to lift or raise, rise or hoist, and a nickname for Robin or Robert. And also Robbie came up in my message. I told you it popped up when I was writing it. So that was interesting. So as all my definitions came together regarding phobia here, and also son of Aries versus son of Shiva was coming up, very interesting. The energy or show of power of the Wabat or Washington bats came up. Also 7 bat species in Washington and Oregon. And then Wat bat, W-A-T and B-A-T, is that white versus brown adipose tissue of fat, right? The good fat and the bad fat that you always hear about. That was coming up. And the hips, right? So Hobbs and hips were coming up. The energy of show of power, the energy of nieces and daughters, but also the show of power of the knights and Civil War battles and forgiveness. Hairy Washington bats versus Wat bat fat. Knights and knees, 7 keys. The chariot and calm before the storm. The path or co-creation. The energy close by that approaches. He bathes and washes, cleanses and purifies. T-hood came up, T-H-O-O-D, of the singularity, through thou low-lying place, the swamp of battles past and forgiveness. Forgive at LA, or give Atlantis. And again, LA is the angels, so and forgive was coming up as the number forgive as well. So forgive at LA, or forgive at the level of the angels, or give Atlantis. She phobias. Atlas, high phobias. Ships and hips, and hip-ho came up as hippo, which is also horse, bias. She housing a fairy or elf at earth, countrymen, Robin and Robert, the multitude to rise up and grease the wheel, housing, protecting hobby as something else. Dirtied waters of Atlantis cleared as a brand new ship is coming in and just needs to connect with your unicorn, twisty horn that will drill right through the tunnel to cleanse the connection, to leave all your fears behind. The T-hood and T-hearts, sacral and heart chakras, as the energy of the Holy Grail was coming up, as I brought this up before, but I haven't talked about it this year at all. Again, the energy of the Holy Grail is a bigger cup on top with a smaller cup opposite down below, which would then cover the womb, where the bigger heart is holding the heart, or the bigger cup is holding the heart. So that energy came up again. Leaving all your fears behind, the T-hood and T-hearts, sacral to heart chakras, the Holy Grail, that which holds the heart and the womb simultaneously, and the bridge being your solar plexus between, to be permanently open between your heart and your womb to tomb, which is your pineal, the life bulb to your light bulb. The sun's rays are like fingers entwined with your wombs, the phased arrays of the fingers and two hands as one. And then a depiction came up. And if you put your hands, if you fold your hands together like this, from the side, you see how that looks like a mountain range? And then if you look at it from, I don't know if I can do this in front of you. If you look at it from the top, it was coming up like this, okay? So you have a thicker bottom at the bottom, kind of like a Vogel crystal, right? And the thinner one at the top. And then you have 3 fingers each in the middle, okay? So we have that symbol. And it was coming up as I drew it like this, okay? So this symbol was coming up and this of the mountain range. Isn't that really cool? So there was this energy of magnetic and electric coming up, of the hands entwined, the magnetic mountain range and the electric grid that connects the land masses. The penthouse of human bias, housing one-to-one, the human bee, transitioning through Ea's, I-A Sophia, wise Ea, of E and A, the energy temple and rocket, equal and congruent to one. Eve and Adam, which is also E-Veed Am, V-E-A-D, which means mistake, a flaw, lack or fault or reason. The energy of E, fault, Am, but E-A-D means happiness and prosperity. Ev, E-A-D, Am. So there's E-V and A-M as Eve and Adam. And then Eve, A-D, M, or after death, or Eve adds I-am, basically. Eve, Adam, and Ev, Ea, Dam. As Adam, Eve, Adam, Eve, a da or dad, / me, M-E, which God always comes up as me, because M-E actually means gift to civilization, and longing there, and after death, Am, Eve. So all of this was coming up as Eve and Adam and Eve. E lacks Am, and Ev prospers Am. Eve adds Am, the energy temple of creation. She, her, Ea, sovereignty. Air, breath, gas, and vapor, or life force. To rise, to smell, to feel bad or ashamed. The river running water, or the course. And so now, at any time, ever father or dad co-creates. Eve, a father to mother co-creation. A dam, which equals a spinning earth. I am, to stop the water, the human from running. Eve after the D, which the capital D represents the earth spinning on the axis. After 1v1 of the M, which is co-creation, the spinning earth and co-creation mountain, Eve a DM, a D-I-V-I, which is co-creation, N-E, which was coming up as they're all the same letters, right? Because N is short for M and D is short for phi, which is the circle with the line down the middle. Not phi, but pi. but also the two arcs also are straight lines, which also equals 111 and 1v1. So M equals D, and DM, MD. And again, Mr. Ed keeps coming up as medicine, and here it's reflecting the DM. Mom and Dad, mountain of strength and divine access spin. She the mass and the water, and he the movement of air and fire. She is grounded, and he triggers her to get up and move. Mother Earth on sun's axis, he gets her to rotate around him. The tree of life as the trunk supports and feeds, and his family grounds him in return, giving him roots and branches, and those who eventually leave to make their own tree with mother's canopy. Phobias is masculine housing and protection and hobbies that trigger Sophia. Ships coming in causing fear because ships then leave. The suitcase, a traveling home. The train tracks, a pyramid, scheme, and scene, triggering the arts. The T, hearts. The tree and canopy, two different perspectives of the singularity. The H, priest and priestess here, and persecution and inquisition. He prosecutes, and then she asks 1,000 questions about where he's been. Time to connect with higher self or source, or be left hung out to dry, to look up or look down, or sing around, longing for a middle ground at 12:12 here, without compromise, to be or not to be, or just hang out. So let's see here. So then from the Ascension deck, Buddha was coming out with the dolphins. And actually I was listening to some dolphin and whales earlier. Serapis Bey came up with the fire dragons and the underlying energy. And remember, Serapis Bey means Lord Serapis, which then progressed into Sir Apis, which came from Osiris energy, which is all the same as Sirius, which Sirius is Sir Eos, which means Jesus. So here we have all of that energy being, in the same block of energy. The amethyst skull came up there with the Mahatma energy. And by the way, Serapis Bey keeps coming up with Metatron, which are said in this deck to have worked together in Atlantis. I think it was the fourth ray. Serapis Bey and Metatron. And then here the Mahatma energy coming through with Archangel Metatron's cloak. The white light, the golden white light with Lord Sirius, Osiris, and again, Jesus Christ, Buddha, and Metatron's light. And again, Michael and Metatron can come up as Jesus and Mary Magdalene. The 41 of the Ace of Cups, and then the 21 of the Whole with a higher perspective. Explore information before a decision with 12 rays and 12 chakras open here. Michael and Metatron, JC and Mary Magdalene, and Lord Sirius. As we are aligning with Sirius and coming to that exact alignment on 888, Sir Apis and Osiris, Sir Apis, Sophia, I Ray, Pies, which then is the two pies coming together, right, with line and line making the H in the middle. Cancer and Pisces, home and family love. And a completion point here. The lovers master purifying their thoughts with King of Swords and Mercurial help as Mercury goes retrograde, like I said, around August 4th. Be the light that lights others. The underlying energy of transformation then came up after the moon, the phoenix, the snake, and the birth. And then the cracker was 7 and 27 proposal. Whole and complete, the stars escort the moon. Mid-cycle, divine feminine and masculine, romance, as the Knight of Wands Phoenix ignites the snake to choose a path, or for two paths already drawn to weave together. Two stars create that moon of romance as a third energy, as the dragon orchestrates a divine duo birthing. And this energy of in Cracker Jacks, the excitement of opening Cracker Jacks to see what your prize is going to be. Finding a prize here you didn't expect. And the numbers of all the cards were adding up to 144 here. In a proposal or linked in, breaking of chains and rebuilding a bridge. Birth crescendo, linked in, breaking down of heavy metal to build a bridge. And this is heavy metal right here. So very interesting. Where the land meets the sea, meets the sky, meets the I am. And then the unicorn came up, 33, and the dragonfly, number 8. And by the way, I saw a blue dragonfly today in the garden, really beautiful. I haven't seen one this summer. The 20 of marriage. The unicorn bridge, and when I looked back at the way I wrote unicorn here, I was getting Lincoln again. The unicorn bridge, 33, to dance to as one and a beautiful mind, of 8, 33, and 20 here, in a wake-up call to bond in marriage. And again, marriage being a bridge. So I looked up the Lincoln Bridge to see why that's coming up, and it's northbound, a 6-lane cable-stayed bridge, I-65, across the Ohio River, connecting Louisville, Kentucky, and Jeffersonville, Indiana. Opened 12/6/2015, and is parallel to JFK Memorial Bridge upstream, which was 61 to 63. That's when that was built. That's when I was built too. Actually, 61 to 63 is where I was born in Memphis, and I was only there for 2 years. So that's literally the time I was in Memphis. I was born in Baptist Memorial Hospital, where Elvis died. So here now we're connecting Lincoln to JFK. And 10/10/2016, 5 lanes were then reopened, and then both 6 lanes were opened by December 30th, 16. And then I'm getting the Lincoln, like LinkedIn bridge. And the song 7 Years Old was coming up. Ambassadors of Peace from Louisville and the West End. 1 of 4, but one was 1 of 6 victims. So the group Lincoln Bridge, I'm sure, you know, I don't know the group, so I didn't know that one of them had been shot, but one of them was shot on January 3rd, 2023 at 1:20, and again, they became famous from America's Got Talent. Lincoln, and again, here's the speech where Lincoln did a speech at Columbus, Ohio. This was September 16, 1859. It was a debate rebuttal about slavery. And again, he reiterated, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And this was right before the 1860 campaign. He returned to Columbus February 13, 1861, and April 29th, 65, basically at his funeral, because they did a funeral train across through to, I think it was Chicago. They ended up where he was buried. Columbus, Ohio, and Lincoln Memorial, and why? And again, I was asking these questions. Why did that come up in my vision? So the moose came up with the butterfly and the elephant, which is the Holy Spirit, right? The temple of the breath, the nose. The 13 of the coyote trickster keeps coming up as well this week. And cutting off your nose to spite your face. Self-sabotage is the coyote, and unable to see our own foolishness. And taking oneself too seriously, unable to see the steamroller about to roll over him. And can't believe it. They go to check again and then gets rolled over again. So again, there these lessons of repeating your mistakes, like I shouldn't have been out pulling those bamboo branches down when I know I'm very sensitive to the poison ivy and poison oak and poison sumac, because when the kids were little, I had it like 4 or 5 times. So again, it's kind of bringing those mistakes in to remind you. And this energy of the coyote who likes to punk others, you know, to practical jokes, the need to laugh at oneself. So he needs to laugh more at himself. Watch out for scam artists. This is not a recommended partner or lover here. This joker is always wild. And again, coming up as part of the wolf pack. And I posted a wolf on my Instagram as well, which was really cool, so you could check that out. So the 41 whale then came up as the first card, and the 28 of the armadillo, and 50 of the alligator, the 21 of the owl. The whale is defined as the record keeper from Sirius here, and then North America comes up in this is the medicine cards, which is Native American background. Turtle Island is North America, and so they talk about the whale as the record keeper from Sirius, as Mu will rise again when the fire comes from the sky, which it just did basically, and lands in another ocean, which I'd seen India as something rising from the ocean there on Earth. Earth's children will have to unite and honor all ways and all races to survive. The whale medium people, or the whale medicine people, are coded with their DNA to understand sound frequencies and can bring up ancient knowledge. Usually they're clairaudient or can hear very high or low frequencies, usually psychically developed and fairly telepathic. They may not awaken to their gifts until it's time to use the stored records. They can tap into the universal mind or great spirit and have no idea why or how they know, and then they learn. The drum, the universal heartbeat, always aligns heart to heart. Allow yourself to be sung to by those who have the original language. Find your cry or call and use the sound to release tension and emotion. Use your voice to open memory, expressing your uniqueness. The animals that are your totems may then send their sounds or calls to you, through you, to open your personal records. And again, I said something about the whale, how they sound like, who did I say they sounded like? Oh, they sounded like the fire trucks, because Teddy was howling to the fire trucks. And the whale's like, oh, but it's so deep and profound. Oh, that's weird, because my whales video just turned on when I said that. Very interesting, and the commercial came on. The whales are talking to us. The whale carries all history. Send gratitude to Sirius for the song of the whale. So I looked up the number 274 because it came up here, and the first entry was a word sologenic, which is a wallet application company to manage crypto. But when I defined sologenic, it came up as the sun and the earth gene or generation, the DNA or a DNA that's inconvenient or a nuisance, yonder, and then Turkish in Turkish again. And gen is a wide, broad, like a field or unplowed field. Unique, uninhabited, whole, healthy, unplowed field, inconvenient generation. One of a kind, like a genie in a bottle, with their own magic. The whale, the armadillo, and the alligator, the Ace of Cups memory and Holy Grail, the whole of God's rail or ray leap, and Two of Wands choice of path, fully armored naturally, with solid boundaries where harmful words just roll off. And I was getting the energy from the movie, you know, of the Circle of Trust. I can't think of the movie right now. And then the Ten of Cups family, who are happy with each other, right? Rolling with the punches of the Father's Circle of Trust. The 21 of the owl and the night eagle. And I just posted Capture, one of my songs, on Instagram with my grandmother. And she was coming up here. She was a Pisces born 3/14, same as my daughter, 1898 to 6/10, I think it was, 1982. The owl of deception that hunts at night with clear vision, knowing every sound, with silent feathers, but beak and talons razor sharp. Owl medicine around you, perhaps there may be black magic going on. No one can deceive you, and so you may be a bit scary, reflecting their blindness. Keep an eye on your property and loved ones. And remember that the owl always says, who? So who's been nosing around? So I was breaking down Columbus and Lincoln as well to see why they were coming up. And Columbus was coming up as column, bus, or ride. And that can represent a sexual energy as well. Violation of plows share, earth, soil, US, which was very interesting. Right, the violation of the Native Americans' land. Coal that you imbue, or seawater was coming up there as well. A wild pressure point that you water, which I just watered a wild pressure point. How crazy is that? You hug. It's the same energy as a hug. The holy grail of the sea. The leopard or neck. The lap imbues. The hug or boarding a bus. The leopard boards a bus, right? That would be a big pressure point. It would scare a lot of people. So it's also coming up as Columbus is C and S at the beginning and end, which is the Christos Sophia energy with Olambu in the middle, which means star basically, but without the end, because the word star is Olambu with NGE Lulu at the end. So I broke down all those words too. And then Lincoln was coming up as pool, lake, liquid, sheep, or car, which literally it means. And then the smaller words within Lincoln. To stop a boat, cease and desist. Gentle, mild pressure point violation. A subtle sin. The links to be or links pot or wool. The lambda leap in lust or saddle point, Christed. The lambda father leap, and then Christed is Christ to Ed, Mr. Ed. Co L and N, which is the lamb to father and Christ to Ed. They're all codes of mine from the alphabet. So star without face and one pigtail amidst Christos Sophia, which is really interesting. That pigtail came up because when I was in elementary school, I had the same crazy teacher for first and second grade. She was a bit wicked. She used to like pull people's ears and embarrass them. And I was very shy. And we weren't allowed to wear pants back then, so we were all wearing our little dresses and stuff. And one day, out of the blue, for no reason at all, she called me up to the front of the class and told me to turn around. And she took a pipe cleaner, screwed up like a pig's tail, and stuck it on the back of my dress. These are our teachers. So star without a face and one pigtail amidst Christos Sophia. Star not goosed, without a big forehead, without holy ache, without remote drive-in. The star with holy protection or holy bodyguards. The coal ruler or measure of coal, right? The coal becoming the diamond. To calm or stop coal by pool or water. So there's my fiery coal and me throwing water on the coal. To stop, and yes, I know if it's an electrical fire, I would never throw water on it. I didn't think that would explode. Okay. A root of Christed coal. Co-snow bus. To stop co-lane or co-line, which is the lineage. The natural logarithm base E. And again, the pressure point hug in C of Yellowstone, just like that explosion that happened in Yellowstone, versus to calm or stop the pressure points, which is coming up as the pressure point hug, or exaggerating the pressure as what happened in Yellowstone, as coming up as Columbus, Ohio. And then to stop or calm the pressure points was coming up as Lincoln Memorial, dumping the mud. Using a pool. Oh, because there's a pool at Lincoln Memorial. I just got that now. Using the pool to calm the pressure point. And again, where I saw mud or heavy cement or heavy mud being poured onto something, right, to calm it. Very interesting the way that's coming up. So a time capsule energy was coming through here too. After Pulp Fiction had come up, along with Slumdog Millionaire. And then the Weasel coming in, where in the medicine deck, the Weasel comes up as the great spy because they really understand what they're seeing. So they can come in and kind of infiltrate the enemy territory and come back with a very informative response. The Eagle came up here too. The Christ Consciousness Bridge to number 1. The Weasel was coming up as We as L, or the Leap, E as Glee. E as sending his spy to tap in on the Divine Feminine. The underlying energy of the Native American and the love life of food and hunger, or the hunger for love life. The spouse and unrequited love, trees and authority figures, lessons and blessings of shaman having opened the Greek portal, now Egypt portal. Med or Gur, EC or Baby Bam Bam. And then Baby Bam Bam was coming. Oh, that's the other cereal that came up, was Pebbles. Pebbles, Tricks, and they're great. So Pebbles and Bam Bam were coming up here. The portal's open for abandoned children. Abandonment came up again too today. I forgot about that. The Honey Bunny, the Tony the Tiger, and Pebbles and Bam Bam and the Rolling Stones. As Mother took in orphan children, as Mother is healer of Native American, and Spanky and the gang as alfalfa sprouts. A time capsule found, or a ship landing in the shrubs. So I looked up that stuff to see if anything was coming up that resonated. I looked up capsule landing, and Boeing's Starliner space capsule faces or makes or breaks tests before the crew can come home. So here's a capsule that was still out there, that they couldn't bring it home until they figured out the problems. And then unexpected helium leaks were listed as one of the problems here. This was now, July 25th, 2024. So that may be what's coming up as a capsule landing. Love, life, hunger, spouse, and unrequited love. And the spinster energy came up in the movie I'd watched the night before too. Which I like that movie actually. I forget what the name of the movie is. It was about a spinster who had blamed the town loose woman for sending all these terrible letters. It's a comedy. So that was coming up. But regarding the spinster energy and allowing the sun through the trees as the magical authority. So again, I'd done some healing work. My son was just home for a visit for the wedding, and I'd done some healing work on him as well. And Tony the Tiger came up again there. And Tricks are for kids. He actually liked Tricks when he was little. And then Pebbles. And Clowns came up too. Oh, interesting too. And then from the Crystal Angels Oracle, Amber had come up, and the name Amber had come up. So that was interesting too. So again, the underlying energy of phobias came up, and the arts with the monk and nun and vows, leaving and travel. Religious music was coming up, and fears of love with music. And again, the infinite ear tease was coming up. After Atlantis' persecution and unrequited love, committed religion with galactic phobias. The UN spy gal, is there a UN spy gal? Was coming up as Angle or Angel or Spy Angel. Turning to music and vows of chastity. The spy who loved me, leaving or travel. Taking the show on the road. The music and prayer and the commitment to travel. And that could be, you know, the life of a musician on the road, right? Because prayer is just words to the music as well. So then I pulled again, the Divine Masculine came up in the underlying energies, because I literally have a card that has your Divine Masculine. And the first card out was 44 of the Hummingbird, which is joy, and then 47 Prairie Dog, which is retreat. And then I pulled again for love life and the karmic relationship, where with the aggressive badger, the woman medicine of the otter, transmutation of the snake, and cleansing of the frog, and your Divine Masculine in the underlying energies. Present and strong, lovers, Queen of Cups, Divine Feminine destined to family love, as the Queen of Cups with your Divine Masculine. Aggressive woman medicine, transmuting her babies and cleansing your Divine Masculine. The grounding and integrating of joy through pollination and high vibe flight, retreating for epiphanies and heaven in your eyes. The underlying energy, again, of persecution and inquisition of the high priestess or higher self. Financially betrayed by biblical carpenter, or he working hard to make her Baal and maintain his Celtic, and then the Celtics, the basketball team was coming up, connections, a Neanderthal man's love life, a karmic relationship, the frog and Neanderthal man cleaning up for your Divine Masculine's love life, karmic relationship as the hummingbird grounds and integrates and then retreats. And then the world came up with patience and abundance and the fool, the atlas of the world, the map of Gaia, your Divine Masculine's love life, the Queen of Wands, patience, and grounding and integrating her harvest of the Divine Masculine's abundance, and then retreating to be the hanging man and the fool, or hanging out, and that could just be out hiking with your dog as well. All right, so I'm going to go to my message of the day. I'm going to show you the cards. So the underlying energies there on this side, 3 cards out, and then the extra cards that wanted to come out at the end, which I use for numbers and for the story. Okay, so we have Journey of Love, Shaman, Oracle, the Past Life deck, which is Brian Weiss, by the way, and then the Medicine deck down there, the Medicine Oracle. All right, so the numbers that came out from the cards at the end was 12, 11, 1, 2, 1, 1. And the first entry for that is Charles Schwab, which I connected with, which was pretty funny, actually. But then 111 also came up as one of the entries, and a Man of Wisdom. The Hanging Man, Justice, Pisces, Capricorn, and Libra came up with 1211. Hanging Out with Truth and Balance, also 121, 1. Escorting the World, the Masculine and Feminine align. The underlying energy of the 9 of the Heart of God, 61 of the Whale Song, Love Life, and the 35 of the Horse, which is Power. Virgo Hermit energy there, perhaps born 61, with the 61 coming up there. Regarding love life in year 35, there may be a surrender. September 24th may be coming up, but also remember there's an eclipse on 9/17 to 18. And then 9 to 5, 6/13 was coming up, so I looked that up in Gematria. And the first entry was Infinity, but it's coming up with 9 to 5, infinitely. Immediately, Ring My Bell and Charity. Broken Mind Control, Disneyland, Jacob, XLN, Stock, Shifty, and then the word dictatorship came up. Cosmo Station. So dictatorship and help me reconfigure, they all had the same numbers. Tetra Genetron, so Genetron, Tetra, Gene, and then Tron. And then there was an entry, Ms-13, IAMC, if that means anything to anyone. Geocentrism, Earth, came up as the same number as well. And then Trapped on the Grid and Hemisphere Cross. The Heart of God's Whale Song, the Love Life of the Horse, or Mr. Ed. The Portal Open, the Whale in a Bubble, meeting Horse on the other side. Mr. Ed, a talking head, or the front man, but the whale is deeply resonant and grounded, like the genie in the bottle, but the whale in the bubble. The 55 Acceptance and the 15 of the Mother Praise, 45 of Hidden Beauty, in the underlying energies here, as well as the 5 of Communal Dance, 24 of Spaces Between, the 20 of Sweet Soul Rising, and 50 of the Cloak, and this is all Journey of Love. 17 her grace, 44 rings of time, and 9 on top, the heart of God. The Ace of Swords, truth, and the triumph of the fairy tale as the shadow mother prays, grieving and unable to see the beauty and the freedom of the communal dance. The Queen of Wands, or mother, guilting the Hierophant, or society, or using society's traditions to guilt someone. The Queen of Wands is in the space between, and the sweet soul rising in a wake-up call at 5:55 here. The 50 of the 10 of Cups and the cloak of the 10 of Cups family, and the star, her grace, reaching out through rings of time. Hercules, or her harvest. And the picture looked like, it reminded me of when I was doing cards for a 100-year-old in a wheelchair at my mother's home when she had Alzheimer's. It was I was so happy for that connection too, because she couldn't speak. And everyone kind of just thought she was crazy because she would roll around on her wheelchair and just burst into people's rooms and just and just roll around. And I read for her one day because she just wandered into our room. And I asked her if she wanted me to read her cards, and she said yes. And she would, she'd shake a lot and move her hands up and down, her legs, she had all these little movements that she would do. So I read her cards, and it was all about her husband came up as the Hierophant in the middle of her read, and he was a pastor, I believe. And then her son came up in the read too. So after I'd done her read for her, her aide came in, was able to fill in the holes that I didn't know about her being 100 years old, and that her son was the one I was talking about, and that yes, her husband was a pastor. And she was crying, just hearing the information that that she couldn't express, the love that she missed her husband and all of that kind of stuff. And then I did some Reiki on her legs, and she stopped shaking completely. It was a really beautiful connection, so I guess I was meant to share that with you. There's a lot you can do in Alzheimer's facilities just by reading cards, helping someone be heard. So there's an opening here, grounding and integrating the heart of God, the 48 of man of earth and the woman of the sky. The hermit goes within to align with lover, the angel of Jupiter awaken. And the lover's card is also family. It has to do with family affection. And the 2 of the high priestess are higher self and the womb, that within nothing there is everything, the hermit and the higher self. The heart of God to mother's womb, through the tunnel within, to the lover or family and the higher self. The 52 of the Queen of Swords, the ancient ones of Lady Liberty. And then the underlying energy of the Queen of Wands, 24, in the galactic mushroom, with the 32 jeweled web, 50 spirit of the river, and the whale song resonating. The Queen of Wands hermit pops their crown, lit like a Christmas tree in jeweled web of connectivity, as the ornamental seahorse meets the glowing angelfish head on. The 10 of Cups family completely transparent as the bubble portal of whale song resonating. And here goes into the portal that message I was getting yesterday. And literally that card of the angelfish underwater looks like the face of reminded me of the Cowardly Lion inside the female angelfish, which is like that masculine feminine portrayal, but in a neon sense, like a glowing fish, an etheric fish with light. The electrical of the tree ornament of the seahorse to the wise man and transparent angel, in the spirit of the river that creates the electrical bubble portal that can hold the whale's vibration. The 6 of Wands and 10 of Cups and the whale's portal. And this kind of brought together the message that I'd gotten when I was doing the session this past week, which was earlier than this. This was last week. But the whale's portal of the 6 of Wands and 10 of Cups, of the wise man inside the free spirit, creating a safe space for the whale energy here. The 39 of Metox, 29 of the horned cactus, detoxing and resourceful shaman on the unmarked trail under pressure of revelation for the coal to become the diamond. Dances on one foot, balancing act here with the hermit moth number 9 and the 4 of the cat ER pillar, the green moth hermit and the pink cat emperor opportunity here, and that could be September 4th as well, as the 44 is the perfect storm for I was just getting Raven Rock. 44 is the perfect storm, which is also Hercules again. It's that 4 of Cups, boredom, apathy, but also grounding and integrating what you've learned. That's what boredom is for. It's time to be still, not to be bored. The 44 of Hercules, or her harvest, and the perfect storm for raven, peacock, and eagle's perch. And that always comes up as the ravenous show-off on the eagle's perch. Hercules, her harvest, complete. The double lambda leap to 1, the first breath of the beginner's mind. 44 to 1 to 4. Pisces galactic mushroom of the Queen of Wands shaman. And then I was seeing when I was at Vitality, I saw like a great forever grandmother shaman that was all wrinkled like a prune, but I was getting her in this energy. The Queen of Wands shaman, like the grandmother shaman, and the cedar race comes through in the seahorse of Pegasus, reflecting Poseidon, right? Because Pegasus is Poseidon's progeny, through Medusa. Reflecting Poseidon adventure. It's got to be the morning after. And then I posted that with those cards on Instagram. So the Poseidon adventure came out 12/12/1972, which adds up to 43, which was the energy yesterday, 43. And then it was 720. So then 72 came up again, which is the 4 of Pentacles, which comes up in the SIRIAN Starseed deck as the Divine Masculine in the Batcave. And the Crown Games comes up here, with the 8 and strength as the Olympics are going on. And then the 58 of the Vanishing Mirror, the strength of the crown removal. Again, the blasting open of the crown. Again, the fire. The 4 of Swords cracking the mirror of ego sublimation, and the 5D connection with no hierarchy here between man and woman as the whale steals the show. The Queen of Wands taking a risk to dance in awakened state of bliss. The woodwives adaptable to the stationariness of the tree. The 25 of the Knight of Wands and the Garden of Venus for rest and renewal before jumping back in. The Fool's Leap to embrace and transmute pain. And Superfly was coming up here, and Ganymede, which is a moon of Jupiter, which there's supposed to be a lot of activity regarding the Confederate ship up there, coming in to see us awaken. And then it was 739, which is that day I told you about over and over again. The 739,000th day, which was April 9th, 2024, which is right next to the eclipse, 4/8, came up again right here. And it's the 7 of the Chariot, the 39 of the Knight of Cups, right? The Chariot of the Knight of Cups, the one who brings unconditional love. The Chariot and the Knight of Cups and 1,000 sons to follow them. All right, the second coming of Christ. The ships coming in, all shiny and new. The arts, the Celtic and love life. Ea and the Neanderthal man healing their seeder's wound. And again, the Neanderthal's wound came up regarding not having permission to seed them into a human. The ship to shore between whale and horse. The ace of light and inner child of love. The strings and keys of Celtic Neanderthal man with a love for life. And welcoming the ship with song and dance, a jig perhaps. A kiss from a rose, sealed with a kiss, and then hiding, a reunion of Celtic proportions. So then I was getting that Seal and Heidi might be coming back together. I didn't see anything in the news. Finances, biblical, unrequited love, and the knighthood. The love life and betrayal of J and J. The new headquarters in Singapore, and still dealing with baby powder issues. Getting biblical, building finances for the love life, and a standoff of unrequited love and knighthood. Jesus building the 4th leg with the money that he got back from Judas. So there's paybacks here. The underlying energy at 755, which is the Chariot and the truth of the sword. Remember the lightning chasing the sword of the knight's truth. The 2 of the hawk and the 42 of the bat, the 1 of the eagle. So here we have the 2 and the 1 of the feminine and the masculine, with the 42, 1-to-1 in the middle as the bat. Remember, the bat sees very well at night. The 25 of the fox, the 6 snake, and then the blank card, which is space for me between, unless it comes up as another message. The 7 of the skunk and 35 horse, as the 2 is the hawk messenger, or feminine energy and higher self, 1-to-1 with the bat's rebirth, with the 1 of the masculine or magician, eagle, fox, in camo. And again, that reminded me of JP on Elena's and Michael's interview as well. The Knight of Wands and snake lover of transmutation with eggs, leaving space for skunk, and that brings up reputation. The 1 and the 2, 1-to-1, the foxy snake and the skunky horse, which also comes up as that Mary Magdalene energy, with horse being C. The camo and transmutation with reputation of power horse, Ia and Hee-Haw, batting 1,000 on fox and ABC, sexy lover and horse and chariot with space to grow. With the armadillo coming up again, which is number 28, which is about boundaries, and then the 26 squirrel, which is about a gathering, the 37 of the King of Cups of the antelope and action, and then the after card was the turtle, number 10, was coming up as winning by a nose, the wounded warrior's surrender. 228, which is the twin flame, 2 of Wands energy, with natural protection, and the squirrel packing, excited for winter, which can be the terrace of winning, which is the Olympics podium, when the King of Cups antelope is coming to receive the turtle. The squirrel is packing, excited for winter, when the King of Cups antelope is coming to receive the turtle, who comes up as Mother Earth, and the number 10, which is also the wheel for me, is Libra energy. And turtle's also very slow to get there, and is the oldest goddess energy as described in the medicine cards. And perhaps watching out for 28, or the twins. The Page of Wands and King of Cups returning at a turtle's pace. The 4th leg of the race, as Jesus was putting the 4th leg on there, the biblical carpenter. The 4th leg of the race, and the ships coming in. The twin flame Page of Wands excited for the King of Cups. Unconditional love. The boundaries are in place for gathering, for action, and perhaps August 10th specifically is coming up here, lesser since August 6th, as the horse and buggy arrival with aqua rose gold mother's heart, the ladies laying their hair down for the right use of power, and the horse's head, or the talking head, and coins coming to 28, and again, the reimbursement for betrayal. The path and twin flame, the lovers align and connect in 5D, smashing the mirror and revealing the veil of illusion in a biblical sense at a gathering for the Page of Wands, and that could be a child or a kid's party as well. I actually have a kids' party on the 11th. So Mother adapts to end pain of unrequited love and takes action as the King of Cups, with Pisces and Cancer around here, as the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Wands in a fool's embrace leap to knighthood at destined turtle's pace. And or the Queen of Swords helps the Knight of Wands, Saggy and Aries coming up there, to leave the knighthood behind and revisit their ancient powers at 8/18 to 8/19. So they could be coming up. So a lot of dates in August coming up here, because 8/13 started that paragraph. So you had 8/6, 8/10, 8/13, 8/11, 8/18, and 19 all were coming up. So a lot of stuff going on in August. So now we have the message on the table that's now splattered with wax and water. Okay, and so here you can see it from above before it got splattered. Okay, so we have the SIRIAN Starseed deck as the main deck, the big cards, and then the Rider Waite for clarifiers. So I cut the deck at 9:48 last night, which is the Hermit, and then the 8 of Cups of walking away and within. And I finished clarifying at 10:02, which is the 1 of the masculine, 002 of the feminine. The major arcana here are Luna, or the moon, reflection, which is the Hermit, justice, strength, higher self, or high priestess, and then the Ascension card, which is the world. Before the read, abundance comes up, which is the Empress, and after the read, the Wheel and Reason, which is the Emperor. Okay, so you have the Empress and the underlying energy there, and the Emperor right here at the end. So they are gate holders, basically, for this read. And a very unusual read because we had 1 sword, 1 wand, 2 pentacles, and 1 cups. And how similar is that? So the number that you got was 1211. This is 1121. Okay, so it's basically flipping the 1 and the 2 in the middle, with the 1 on either side, which are gate holders. And then we had 4 5s in this read. I don't think I've ever had that happen. 4 5s, which is big change. We had, those were the only duplicated number, was 4 5s. We had 3 4 and 6 7 as well. They're like the energies around the 4 5s, which 4 5s is 20 also, which is judgment. 34 is the energetic exchange of the 8 of Wands, and then 67 is the Knight of Pentacles, the loyal, humble servant. And then on the outlier is the number 10, which is that high vibration and destiny. Off to the right, with 4 5s of change in the middle. Wow, that's big. So the code line here was 70, the number 70 from 63 and 7. And 70 is the 2 of Pentacles. And in the Journey of Love, I think it's the Heaven card as well. Fifi was coming up as the first 2 words in the code line here, as well as SF, which could be San Francisco, but it's other energies as well. The energy of lightning and electricity in the initial attack, spinning the planet IV of 6, 3, and 9, which is the Lovers and then the Knight of Cups. Right, the Lovers being love. The Infinite 6, which again is that 309 or 369, is the energy in the middle of the 4D, regarding the reflection of the divine feminine, divine masculine. The 7, the Chariot, the Key, of course, ascending, in a sense, connection. The electric trigger, or lightning perhaps, the spontaneous fission, which is a breaking apart, a dividing, a split. In nuclear physics, radioactive decay, a nuclear reaction in which a large nucleus splits into smaller ones, sometimes with a simultaneous release of energy. It was also coming up as the end yesterday. So again, the end of a cycle coming up as yesterday, and this was done yesterday, so that would have been the 27th. As the planetary axis spinning, IV, which is also the number 4, the IV lovers taking the high road of energy and the temple, and the hermit's reflection in the chariot of the sea as a sense connection. The son or daughter, the fire or water, the I or me, to suddenly split, divide, the divine family or lovers. And again, 3-9 came up with 7 again, so that's 739. The Knight of Cups and the Chariot, the vehicle of the helmet or crown coming up here. To swing and swirl and centrifuge or spin really fast. The memory cascade that Magenta Pixie often talks about was coming up right here. The spontaneous divide of family or lovers, with the Empress and the Hermit to yawn of boredom perhaps, because they're actually grounding and integrating. Taurus and Virgo come up there as well with the Lovers, which is Gemini. The Christus Sophia connection. The 6th Infantry Division, or US, US, and again that came up regarding World War II, 1 and 2, known as Red Star. I forgot the Red Star. I was going to search that, but I haven't. 7, of course, there could be offices coming up here, like multiple offices to encounter ascension. And again, the connection of Christos Sophia. Right, so the correct Christo, you know, that Christmas-like feeling, and then Sophia of the wisdom. So again, that energy of the love and the light. And then Fifi was coming up as Phi as well, which if you take 2 golden spirals, you know, they make a heart. And a plane was coming by right at that moment with very big vibrations at 1041, which is the Wheel and the Ace of Cups. So this energy of Fifi or Fi-Fi as the heart, an electric lightning energy, the electric heart attack, spontaneous. Someone could have a heart attack as a wake-up call. Not that I'm wishing that on anyone, I'm not. But it could have been something predestined not to die, but to wake someone up or to get them to connect with their body in some kind of spontaneous vision or division, perhaps suffering in silence, reflecting the key of a sense connection, right, to connect them. Also, gay San Francisco is also coming up as divine. The sixth rare flexion or inflection was coming up as a state of being bent or not straight, which is really funny the way they're bringing it through. And a vehicle of ascension, right? Those who know the feminine side of things, right? The unconfessed energy was coming up, as well as to raise this state of being bent, right? Not on the straight and narrow. The energy of lightning attack and spontaneous split, the hermit as a vehicle of ascension, as well as the memory cascade of the divine lovers, and the empress reflection as a vehicle of ascension. And as I was seeing, when I saw Elizabeth, she looked like, right, someone reflecting. So that could be that energy. And then Theodora came up as an empress, the wife of Justinian I, and I don't know much about her, so I looked her up a little bit. She's a Byzantine empress and considered a saint, celebrated on June 28th. She was originally Greek, but her childhood was very unknown. There wasn't a lot of details about it. But according to Michael the Syrian, her birthplace was in Syria, and she was born in 1490 AD. Her father, Acacius, and he was a bear trainer for hippodromes, the Green faction in Constantinople. She was also considered an actress and prostitute in a brothel in Constantinople. She ended up in Alexander, Egypt, and converted to Miaphysite Christianity, and then back to Constantinople and met Justin, basically. I'm going to say Justin. But it was illegal to marry an actress at that time. So basically, he changed the law so that he could marry Theodorus. He came to throne in 527, and she was crowned Augusta as we enter August, the Empress of East Roman Empire, and considered partner in deliberations with the emperor. They believed, as a couple, it was their job to dispute it was their job to duplicate the heavenly structure on earth. So literally, it was their job to bring heaven on earth. That was their belief, which is what's happening now. The green and blue factions actually, rebelled, but together against them. And then Justin wanted to run away, but Theodore said, no, you can't do that. You have to push them back. You have to take them down and rebuild Constantinople, which is what they did, including building Hagia Sophia. So, and they really didn't like the elite government types. They preferred the common people. And she did a lot of helping out with women's rights and died in June 28th, 548. So then what was coming through with the cards was out in the cold, exile and loss, the Empress reversed became the Queen of Wands of the castle, ending the war within, meaning no fear. Defenseless post-war as a faceless jester, the full moon chariot, and the romantic vehicle of self-satisfaction. And again, this is coming up from Cancer season. The Six of Cups reversed, and bad memories of the sun exposing the King of Swords with no peace. Cancer to Leo season with the King of Swords unable to find peace with a falling out in the past. No war, no peace. Now this couple, as much as they worked together as a team, they didn't believe in the same type of Christianity, so they battled about that to the end, but they were still together. And I was getting the all is fair in love and war. The recent past of the Three of Wands reversed, looking back at the PTSD when the world was upside down, and starting over with Hermit reversed, healing their heart, with lovers stressed out about coming together. The foundation of divine justice after the wounded warrior's surrender, one-to-one running away without choice to be released in the end. Getting away with something in the past, of stealing release in one-to-one surrender, and that could be a 5D connection. Seeking truth and balance, and to end the inner war and lack of peace. The central energy of the moon upright and the mid-cycle of romance and justice at night, the divine masculine coming out of the bat cave and laying it all out there to end the war and to fix PTSD and the looting or stealing that happened, and that can be energetic stealing. The lying, the cheating, the stealing, the running, the dumping, the rejection of the Page of Cups reversed, broken, embarrassed about bliss with the Knight of Pentacles reversed. The Hermit reversed is coming up as a lack of reflection or needing to reflect and going out of their head. Home with fallen angel, clearly out of balance and clingy. And now crowning is the Strength card reversed with the Knight of Wands upright, who left the King of Pentacles and King of Cups both reversed here, detoxing, as the Queen of Wands in a turn of events that are in her favor is with the Queen of Cups reversed, burdened and slaving or working for the Emperor reversed, or perhaps there's another third fire energy, Atlas, in the middle, slaving for both the Queen of Cups and the Emperor, both reversed. We have Libra and Saggy upright, Capricorn and Aries reversed right there. So soon here in this read is the Ten of Pentacles reversed of the family, business, or community of dysfunction, loss, or big expense. As the King of Wands and the Empress both reversed here in a sudden event or near-death experience, so someone might have had a heart attack there, or the Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help and weak without sleep and rising above, or awakening and sharing synchronicities, heaven in their eyes, as Scorpio is both upright and reversed here, Taurus and Leo both reversed, which is not great for fixed signs generally, but they have upright energy too. The twin flames are being seen here as the higher self upright after uncomfortable emotions of stepping up messages of their higher self. So again, practicing their new gifts that they've recently received. As the Queen of Pentacles reversed is bridging to the Ten of Pentacles reversed to get to Three of Pentacles upright, a smaller entity with the Five of Pentacles in need. The Knight of Swords reversed lashing out in court or holding their tongue with Judge or Libra. Or the Knight of Swords reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed are in mediation with irreconcilable differences. Message from a quiet sister perhaps, Pisces or Virgo, to Queen of Pentacles reversed, completing a cycle with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, working together with injured parties to come to an understanding. Around the twins or how they're seen here is the Six of Cups reversed. And we have the energy of the Knight of Cups over here, upright, with magic. The Star Knight of Cups, with magic under the radar, like kind of, dousing their light, as not, they might not see it as being good for their reputation, right, their 3D reputation, with bad memories of repercussions of this, and again, persecution and inquisition. The block here is the Seven of Pentacles upright of the Divine Feminine in the E-Tower, reaping rewards, as Ascension is reversed here with a need to ascend with the world upside down or at the end of the cycle, and it's almost over. Holding back an announcement or judgment or the need to swallow pride, with the Page of Wands reversed causing delays for the group or on a quest to split, divide, or go back to the Nine of Pentacles sovereign divorcee, or perhaps someone who's spiritually alternative, or perhaps your own sovereignty, and feeling badly for abusing and denying and blocking their awakening, their own awakening, or for not having rejected advances sooner, or for rejecting their advances from an awakened place. With the world reversed and a need for closure, with waves of flames and destined Queen of Swords reversed, with the Emperor reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, with no peace, with the Ten of Cups family upright, which is family happiness and fulfillment, with the Eight of Cups reversed though, uncomfortable not being able to walk away, with the Three of Swords reversed, forgiveness of lover or Gemini, with Pisces reversed and Libra upright, Aries reversed and Gemini upright, coming together as the Three of Pentacles, which could be a workplace, or any place of co-creation. It could be a church or a gym. With the King of Wands reversed and the Ten of Wands upright, Atlas leaving the wounded warrior behind, or that victim mentality. At 1241, which is the Hangman and the Ace of Cups, is Libra and Cancer and Pisces or Virgo upright here, with Leo or Sag reversed, Virgo reversed, so Virgo is both upright and reversed, and so is Pisces, and then Aries reversed with Gemini upright. Home post-war or post-virus or poison ivy or sumac, with justice of the higher self, with memories of the past subconscious to be seen. The challenge being a lack of reflection and blocks of assessing worth and reaping rewards. And the Ten of Pentacles reversed down to the Seven Pentacles, and the need to birth into another world. So that could be someone who had to pay a bill, a big expense, or it could just be, money, slowly going down. They're not able to recoup that money and stay at the Ten of Pentacles. And this could be someone retiring as well. And the need to birth into another world of waves of flames, and destined Queen of Swords reversed, with the Emperor and the Queen of Pentacles all reversed, and needing peace with that Ten of Cups family who's uncomfortable with forgiveness or apology for a lover or Gemini at work, with the King of Wands reversed, who may be tired of doing all the work. The Queen of Wands is upright and home, with PTSD or virus causing them to look back for truth and balance at night, perhaps feeling weak at night, or something they remember as being worst at night but gets better during the day, or vice versa. And again, remembering. The challenge being losing your mind or over-isolating, the higher self with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss or big expense, with the Six of Cups reversed, kids or past falling out or a bad childhood, and reaping rewards until the cycle is complete. Or the 5D world is formed on a quest for high vibe energies, or watching the Olympics to inspire perhaps, with Pisces reversed and Libra upright, and those three, the Queen of Swords, Emperor, and Queen of Pentacles reversed. Or this could also be poor judgment and no peace despite the Ten of Cups upright emotional fulfillment, right? People who should be happy because they have fulfillment. This also can represent judges who aren't being seen as fair judges, but can't leave while getting over lover's separation and work, with the King of Wands reversed and the Ten of Wands upright, either exhausted doing all the work or doing all the work from a place of malintent. So today, what I want to tell you as we bring the last messages in here, like I said, medics came up as a Japanese call so that the medic will get killed and then the U.S. soldiers won't have help. Chasing the storm, passing the torch, lightning following the knight's sword, or connecting with the truth, right? Chasing that dream. And then 309 being that 369 of the 4D in the present moment, grounding it into the earth, the highway, and then dances with wolves. So the cards from today earlier, this was at 1237, the underlying energy of the carpenter's wife puts the hammer down. In Asia Minor or China Major, the electrical storm as the first card is the medicine man or woman. Literally at 1248, my lights were flickering. With persecution and inquisition of a galactic nature, the shaman's persecution, the karmic relationship with the Native American, and it was coming up as a galactic thing. And again, it brings me back to the seeding without permission. The galactic karmic relationship with the Native Americans, or with the, with the caveman, basically. The underlying energy of finances comes up again and again. Judas's betrayal as it being paid back. The first card out was coming up as leaving or travel. And again, car issues could be coming up. An authority figure regarding the masculine and feminine back to back, or not getting along, irreconcilable differences, or learning to sit back to back in order to let their energies meld. With Native American lessons and blessings, the mother and the love life, after the high priestess and their persecution being left hung out to dry, regarding finances, or the cost of travel, the auto, and authority figures, and telling you what you can and can't do. The male and female back to back, and the cost of being paid off, perhaps, to be quiet, to leave the family. The Native American lessons and blessings of mother and children and their love lives. The galactic karma of 30 pieces of silver, affecting the high priestess or higher self. And regarding the carpenter. So what it's saying is that the galactic karma of 30 pieces of silver of Judas's betrayal that affected her, not just the carpenter, but it affected both of them because they are one unit. The high priestess receiving a settlement here or getting 30 pieces of silver paid back. If they leave or perhaps someone's trying to pay them off to get out of their lives on shaman time. And again, very slow like the turtle. The mother's love story to their children. Oh, that's really beautiful. I wasn't getting that before. Okay, so then the communal living was coming up, galactic communal living, after the mother's imprisoned in galactic jail. But that could be also being guarded, right? Staying in your house to be protected can be a jail with the knight, but the knight's coming out here as being on guard outside, protecting the jail. As the underlying energy of galactic communal living with the monk or nun, which is also the namaste energy, and then I was getting I salute you, and was coming up as a hello from your galactic community. Okay? And again, for breaking the chains of the prison planet. So really significant energies came up there. So let's pull a few cards and see what comes up here. I do want to pull a card from Journey of Love for you guys. And then I got to clean up my mess and my poor deck that I just bought. I'll have to see if I can get that wax off of those cards. They tend to get a little bit rippled though if they get wet at all. Okay. It's interesting because see how this looks black and speckled? It's like my my poison reaction looked black and speckled. Could I put some coal on it in the shower yesterday to see if it would absorb any of the oils out of it? And it's bringing up that same energy. All right, you guys. This card was coming out, but I'm going to pull again. Because Lady Liberty is coming up here with the 59, which is the inner war, right, the temple. And again, my vision of where, and this is back in like 16, 17 maybe, where I'd seen the twin flames as angels at the bottom of Lady Liberty, where the altar of Atlantis is above the Lady Liberty, as the Pleiadian ships came in. So there's something about that as we had the Pleiadians just connecting with us as well, and Syrians. Let's see what else is coming up. And we have distant shores here. There's like 4 moons. And the 18 is coming up, which is the moon again. And where are we? We're like mid-cycle right now. So we're going into the new moon for August. So later in August will be the next full moon. So August, September, October, November would be 4 moons. And so Scorpio season is supposed to be big. And again, it's the election, so it is. So there's something very significant around that time. And there's a lot of oppositions in October and November. All right, and there we have the Ancient Ones, love it. So there's the collection of the energy to the Ancient Ones, the Lady Liberty, the Queen of Swords. How cool is that? And look at that, and then the Mary Magdalene energy. The 41 of the Ace of Cups, of knowing without knowing, of exuding love, right? Carrying the weight of the world, coming up as the Hercules energy. And the Queen of Swords. She knows. I'm getting something in the way. She moves. And then talking about Lady Liberty. And then 37, which is unconditional love. And there's that Christ energy literally waiting in the middle for the light to come towards him between the blue and the red. In the space between. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Fire and ice. Isis coming up too. So Mary and Isis coming up, and Lady Liberty Athina. And then the Christed energy over here. And there's one more card that just popped out. Loving all that is, the 22 of the Fool's Journey. Right? Look, she's hugging him. Look, they're in the same space. This is the same space. Only here she's got her arms around him. Just like the painting of Jesus with Mary Magdalene painted into the nook of his neck. That's coming up right here. Right? The girl's doing all this work, receiving the light and carrying the weight of the world. Because she knows, knowing without knowing, without being able to see it, knowing without knowing, the ancient ones coming through, the Queen of Swords, and loving themselves, spiritual love, new love, and exuding love, allowing the masculine then to see the light at the end of the tunnel, present in the middle of the cycle, which the moon cycle is right now in the middle, with unconditional love, and the Fool, and the Fool's Journey, loving all that is in that leap of faith with an open heart as she leaves space in her arms to wrap around him in the moment. And you see how the circles connect right there? Something in the way she moves. And again, there's this, bookend energy of the feminine bringing them together, right? Bringing Mary Magdalene and Jesus together with the help of the divine feminines. The ancient ones loving all that is, knowing without knowing, fire and Isis. Fire and Isis. I'm not getting Isis, I'm getting Nisus. Well, we have a fire here, which is like Onassis I'm getting? Why am I getting Onassis? I don't know. The bottom of the deck here is within nothing there is everything. There's the Earth's womb, again the feminine energy, the number 2 of the divine feminine, higher self, high priestess. And we're going to read number 52, which is Lady Liberty. Getting like Onassis, Osiris, and then Shiva. Shiva is coming up. All right, let's see here, 52. Your spiritual growth is now acknowledged and witnessed by the heavenly ones that see beyond time and space into the reality of your soul. Do not lose heart if your spirituality is not fully acknowledged, understood, or appreciated by those around you in the physical world as yet. Though they may love you, it is most likely that their vision is still bound by time and space, and they cannot see into the very real gains that you have made in the subtle worlds. Where all true spiritual growth begins. They wanted that to be very clear. So the ancient ones reach out to you and bring the message. We see you, beloved. And again, we honor you, and that came up before, right? We salute you. We see you, beloved. We honor your growth. It is real, it is palpable, and soon it will manifest fully in the physical world. With breathtaking beauty, we honor your light. Namaste. This oracle brings guidance that you have taken a leap in personal growth. If you're still testing it in the physical world and trying to translate your inner changes into outer experiences, take heed. It's only a matter of time before you see reflected back to you in your physical world what you have become within. And you will see it mirrored back to you in the eyes of those around you in sacred relationship, too. The poem reads, here's wishing you some sunshine the day after the rain. Here's a hug of understanding when life seems filled with pain. Here's knowing that emotion like wind blows many ways. And our course will seem more certain with the dawn of each new day. And that leads into the legacy of light of the Knight of Swords, coming into the Queen of Swords. Very cool. All right, so I just want to show you those cards one more time as I'm dropping them all on the floor. So I keep hearing it, something in the way she moves, I'm getting the line that moves me like no other. Okay, this beautiful energy of Lady Liberty, Mary Magdalene, Isis was coming up as well. And then this, all right, so what do you want to bring through? Lady Liberty, Mary Magdalene, I'm getting Athena now. Now Athena is Lady Liberty energy. Who's holding space? If it's not Isis, oh, Jacky, Onassis. That's who they're bringing through. I have Aries here. I don't know what sign she is. And Jacky O. So there's O is my symbol for human embodiment of source. And the bottom of the deck is the O. Jacky O. Jack E O. Let me just really quickly see if anything comes up for Jacky here. You do? Oh, I don't know Jacky O. My daughter just told me that Jacky O had passed away. I just want to see what's coming up with Onassis. Well, Aristotle's coming up, because that was his name, Aristotle. Let's see if there's any news. No news came up. But there's still something that needs to be spoken. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and Aristotle Onassis, and Jacky O is coming up. Oh, and then there's Athina Onassis. Ah. Where's Athina Onassis today? Let me see what it says. This was back in 22, May 9th. Looking at the only surviving Onassis. Athina Onassis, so she may be very significant. The last surviving descendant of Greek shipping tycoon Aristotle Onassis is the daughter of Christina Onassis, who died at the age of 37 after a life filled with excess of every kind. And this is the site I'm on is GreekReporter.com. The sole surviving Onassis, her uncle Alexandros, having died in an airplane accident in 73, seems like her grandfather and her mother to have been singled out for a life of difficulty in many ways, despite her riches. Her father, the French pharmaceutical heir Thierry Roussel, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but was never trusted by her mother, and their marriage was brief and rocky, ending after only 8 months. The $800 million that Athina would come to inherit from her mother's estate would only be paid to her upon her 18th birthday. Christina had been at one point addicted to sleeping pills and partook in wild parties, apparently, at her father's home on the Greek island of Skorpios, with a K. After her stepmother, Jacky Onassis, stopped going to the island in the 80s, Christina erased every memory of her on Skorpios and hosted huge parties there for the world's jet set. Her daughter, Athina, was born January 29, 1985, which is Aquarius, and was later baptized on Skorpios. The nightlife on the island calmed down after that, and Christina and Roussel started divorce procedures just 8 months later. So Athina Onassis suffers loss of mother, shutting off to father and stepmother. The lights went out on Scorpius, however, when Christina Onassis was found dead on November 19, 88, in the bathtub at a friend's house in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Athina was only 3 years old. Oh, now I'm getting the connection to all the children that died on the plantation of less than 3 years old. All right, now here's the opposite of that, right? A really rich, wealthy 3-year-old left. Athina was only 3 years of age when her mother, Christina, passed away of pulmonary edema. She was then shuttled off to live with her father and his girlfriend, whom he had been having an affair with while married to her mother. At Christmas time in 88, which that came up, Christmas, a third tomb was opened next to those of Aristotle and Alexandros Onassis on Scorpios. Athina, the heiress of Onassis' fortune, returned to the island 10 years later to lay flowers on her mother's grave. She visited the island a few times in the following years to visit the graves of her legendary family. She was estimated at one time to have been worth as much as $5 billion after having received the $100 million of her inheritance upon turning 18. However, she does not appear routinely in the world's tabloids for her extravagant behavior, unlike many other figures. She's a seasoned show jumper, and her devotion to expensive horses means that much of her fortune and energy has been devoted to the animals over the years. She was spotted at the wedding of Sami Zayn and Lauren Van Berkel in Monte Carlo in October of 21. The 37-year-old in question was practically unrecognizable in the crowd of over 700 guests attending the social event of the season. And they post this picture here. Sorry, it's on my cracked type. I don't know if you can see a picture there. Now, while married to Brazilian Alvaro de Miranda Neto, also known as Doda, years ago, she invested a large sum of money in a huge ranch there. They married in 2005 when she was only 20, but they had known each other for many years from show jumping competitions. So they continued to travel the world, competing in the glittery world of show jumping for 11 years until Athina's world was rocked after revelations of her husband's serial infidelity came to light. I don't want to get into the whole fair stuff, but and she had a prenuptial agreement, but it would still cost her like $100 million to get divorced. It took 2 years to detangle herself. They reached an agreement where 32-year-old Athina, with her fortune mostly intact, neither she or Doda attended the legal proceedings in person, represented by their lawyers. She was at a competition in Athens in 2019. No one is exactly sure how much she's worth after her divorce. Who cares? And financial upheavals of the past year. Anyway, so I guess she's still going through that. I don't know what's going on now, because this wasn't a new article. Yeah, 22. Well, let's see what's current with her, and then I'll let you guys go. Athina Onassis today. Let's see if I can get a more updated. They're all old. So good. She's living her life privately. Yeah, they're all like 22, 23. Oh, here's one. This is from 24. The secret of an only surviving Onassis. They're just reviewing a lot of what we just read, but let's see here. Yeah, there's really nothing added, and this is from 24, so I don't know. She really went under the radar after 19. No one is aware how much she's worth after divorce. Yeah, but nothing else comes up here. Nothing new. So maybe maybe she's going to be coming out soon with something. Okay. Well, she definitely was meant to come up for whatever reason. Leaving space for her divine masculine, perhaps. Okay, guys, remember your water, your rest, your joy, and your nature. And rise and be love. I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing week, you guys. Bye.